So John Deaton, who is putting together a class action lawsuit along with 65,000 other XRP holders going after the SEC, has recently come out with a prediction. This prediction revolving around the two decisions that the judges need to decide on before this case can move into trial. He's going to make a prediction on the 63 emails that the SEC is trying to hide regarding the Bill Hinman speech. Was it opinion? Was it guidance? And also the Easterbrook notes, which was a meeting between the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and the then commissioner of the SEC, Lad Roisman. The SEC also wants to keep those notes hidden. So John Deaton has laid out his prediction on exactly what's going to happen with those two rulings before we move into trial. And we're going to be talking about settlement again. So the other favorite attorney in this case, Jeremy Hogan, not associated with Ripple, but covering this case, lays out his timeline, well, sort of, about when settlement could be possible with the SEC versus Ripple. He also laid out the fact that settlement talks already took place. So I'm going to tell you what actually happened and what could happen in the coming months regarding a settlement possibility. And as I mentioned on my last video, the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, was just on Fox Business discussing with Charles Gasparino and Liz Klayman about several things, most of which revolved around the SEC, some of which revolved around Russia, the Ukraine, and cryptocurrencies in general. So he tried to clarify some things and gave a little bit of an update about the SEC versus Ripple. And he also made a comment about Ethereum that I didn't think was shocking, but at the same time, it kind of was. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the Late Night Grind community. Don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous, I'd appreciate it. If you do two things, you know what they are. Smash the thumbs up button, watch the video all the way to the end. This really help out the channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So first thing I want to talk about is what Brad Garlinghouse was talking about while he was just on Fox Business talking with Liz Klayman and Charles Gasparino. Primarily what they were talking about was with a few things with the SEC had been discussing, as well as what Senator Elizabeth Warren is talking about with cryptocurrencies regarding the Ukraine and Russia. So obviously there's now a war going on and the financial world is in a bit of turmoil. Now recently it's been shown that cryptocurrency transactions in both the Ukraine and Russia have been spiking. So of course the United States, along with several other countries that are imposing sanctions on Russia, don't want anything with the use of cryptocurrencies to actually benefit Russia. They're supposed to be choked off. Well, Brad Garlinghouse was talking about that and he said, well, there's sort of an unfair treatment of cryptocurrencies right now by people like Elizabeth Warren who really don't understand how blockchain works, how cryptocurrencies work, and how companies like Ripple specifically can work with countries like the United States to impose those sanctions. And what he was talking about was the choke-off points. Now, obviously, Ripple has its own product, which is a cross-border payment system, which uses XRP as a settlement token. But what he was talking about was working not just with the US government, but specifically even with the SEC regarding the choking off points, which if you hear Gary Gensler talk, he's talking specifically about exchanges, which are basically the off and on ramps to the cryptocurrency world. Now he says Elizabeth Warren wants to put these blanket bans on cryptocurrencies, but he said that's still kind of unfair because you still have essentially global financial systems such as PayPal, which he actually referenced, to get around sanctions. So why put the onus on cryptocurrencies to be that mechanism of getting around sanctions or getting around the middleman and doing bad things and becoming a bad actor and using cryptocurrencies to do so? Because guess what? There is a lot of bad actors doing a lot of money laundering and a lot of bad things with fiat currency. And in fact, what they're finding out is that it's a lot easier to do with fiat currency as well. So nonetheless, he does think that following Gary Gensler, you're going to notice some more enforcement actions against exchanges, not necessarily blockchain companies. I think they're learning their lesson by going against a company like Ripple. And if you read some of the warnings that are coming across Twitter, there absolutely could be some interesting times ahead, especially for centralized exchanges. And of course, they wouldn't let the segment end without asking for an update on the SEC versus Ripple case, which Brad Garlinghouse pretty much just kind of glazed over everything that I've been talking about on this channel. Basically, we're waiting for a couple of decisions, everything's moving along, etc., not wanting to ruffle any feathers. Now, Liz Klayman actually pointed out that, you know, going after Ripple for what they were doing with XRP, they would have to label Ethereum and Ether the same thing. So if they are going, in fact, after XRP and calling it a security, they have to go after Ethereum. Of course, Brad Garlinghouse, with a big smile on his face, just kind of brushed it off and said, listen, I believe that Ethereum is a currency. I believe that XRP is a currency. We believe that that is proven time and time again, and really the talks of it being a security are kind of unfounded. Now, if you follow this channel and several other channels that follow this case, you know Ethereum is actually in some deep trouble, specifically from the videos and all the evidence that has been showing that they did in fact have an ICO, and they did in fact issue all kinds of securities. And Brad, of course, talking about the currencies, why he believes both Ethereum and XRP are both currencies. Whether or not he believes that all about Ethereum, I think he really just said that because he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers being on national TV, and doesn't want to ruffle any feathers specifically with the SEC. All right, so let's talk about settlement. Jeremy Hogan, who is our favorite outside attorney covering this case, was on Twitter answering some questions, and they were asking about settlement. Now, Jeremy Hogan brought up the fact that there was actually a 1-hour settlement talk that was done several months ago. This was actually done after fact discovery was completed several months ago. What's been ongoing since then is considered expert discovery, where they do all the depositions. So several months ago, there was a 1-hour settlement talk. There was no settlement, therefore nothing was announced, and it moved forward. So somebody was putting together a timeline on Twitter and asking about potential settlement timelines. They said, as of right now, it looks like April to May could be a time in which a settlement could be done and announced, to which Jeremy Hogan said, yes, a perfect summation. So basically, that is a time frame looking at when we could be moving to trial. We could actually expect a settlement if there is one. Now, we know that there's not going to be a settlement unless Brad Garlinghouse gets his way and XRP is labeled a non-security digital asset. Okay, so now let's talk about what John Deaton's big predictions are for the two decisions that we are waiting on in this case. Number one, the emails regarding Bill Hinman's speech. Was it opinion? Was it agency guidance? And all of the people that were actually discussing that speech. And number two, the Easterbrook notes, which is a meeting between Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and then SEC Commissioner Elad Roisman. Those notes specifically talk about, at least according to Brad Garlinghouse, how Brad shouldn't even be here. Elad Roisman was apologizing to Brad even to be here because of the confusion and really the SEC not knowing what to think about XRP. That meeting, of course, happened in 2018. If there was no clarity about XRP in 2018, then there was going to be no clarity about XRP at any time prior to that. Therefore, Ripple's fair notice defense would absolutely win hands down. So what does John Deaton predict? He said on Twitter, I'm going out on a limb, and I'm predicting that Judge Netburn will deny the SEC's motion for reconsideration, meaning those emails regarding the Hinman speech will have to be turned over. He's predicting that. The second prediction he is making is that the Easterbrook notes will have to be turned over. So John Deaton is going out on a limb and saying both of these are going to go in Ripple's favor, and all of these documents are going to be presented as they go to trial. Or the other fun thing to think about is that I saw on Twitter Jeremy Hogan talking with somebody else regarding some of these documents. And he said, specifically talking about a settlement, that Judge Netburn is actually the one who's going to be mediating a settlement should those talks actually happen. Judge Netburn is the one that's actually seen all of these documents in private. Meanwhile, Ripple hasn't had access to all of them, but Judge Netburn actually has. That's a fun thing to think about. And he followed that up with the fact that Judge Netburn can actually suggest terms of a settlement. Now, I don't know if the SEC has experience with that, with working with judges and suggesting terms of settlement. I don't know how that works, but that's a very fun thought. So this could be happening quickly. These decisions should be coming down. I expect them any day now. So if you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, because as soon as those decisions come out, I will be retweeting them. I will be making videos about them, and I will be posting about them. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, for giving this video a big thumbs up, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.